Okay, I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show you guys some little performance thing I did. So originally I was, yeah. So I wanted to do this transition effect. So yesterday I basically isolated the frame, so it would snap onto one frame, then another, then another, then another, then another, right? And the technique I was using was every time I wanted a new frame, I would um, create a new sprite, and um, it wasn't too bad. It was kind of okay because I was just going frame by frame by frame by frame, right? And so you can't really notice a frame rate change when there's not that much action or a low. You don't really notice a low frame rate when not too much is going on the screen. Um, but when I did a transition, it's really slow, right? And I want a couple of these, and it just looks terrible. I mean, and this is on my laptop. So imagine it on like a 2010, 2011 Samsung Android phone. It's gonna run like a pig, right? We could test it out, but I don't think there's any point. If it's less than 60 frames a second on the editor, it's totally unacceptable um, performance. So I figured out the problem is probably this sprite.create thing. So every time I wanted a new region of this texture, I would create a new sprite, and that is definitely at least creating an object and definitely allocating memory. And if you want to do that once a frame, it's kind of not really okay. What you really want to do is you want to adjust the texture coordinates on your texture. So I snooped around. I tried to find out how to change texture coordinates on a sprite. Apparently, it's not possible due to some sort of texture packing bullshit or something like that. Um, and I read somewhere that the right thing to do is to use a raw image instead. And the thing is, a raw image is actually a UI thing, right? So a raw image is something for a user interface. It's something that appears in the. It's basically a raw image lives in the UI layer. And that's kind of okay, but it's not really what I want. Um, but so I wrote some code and switched around a few things, and hey, why is it gone? That is not good. What the fuck? Okay, so did I not commit? I must have committed, right? I must have committed. Push. If I lost all that code, I'd be really mad. But I don't think I did. Log. Did I add a new branch? Maybe I did. Um, Branch. How do I add branches? Branch. So it's log branch checkout, and it's not there. Okay, here we go. Branches and origin master. Okay, cool. Yeah, so check out that code, and I just read it, and so instead of working with instead of setting sprites, even though it says set sprite, it's setting a raw image. We can change that actually. We just go set raw image, and yeah, and so what's it doing? Do you see any like object instantiation here? This doesn't count. This is struct. No, there's none, which means it's much more performant, and all it does is does some like math calculations based on the width of the texture and stuff. And the other thing that's nice is we're working in pixel coordinates instead of whatever coordinates. So when we run it, it's a lot smoother, right? Like noticeably smoother. Um, so I think this is an acceptable strategy, and I'll do the rest of the cutscene engine with raw images, and maybe the rest of the game with raw images. I don't know. Like, is there any reason why a visual novel shouldn't be in the UI layer? I mean, it just doesn't sound right to put your whole game in the UI layer. But if you're doing a 2D game without like, there's not even any need for colliders or anything like that because we're doing a visual novel. So I don't see why it's not possible. But I'm sure somebody will tell me why it's dumb later. But anyway, pretty happy with that.